I've lived alone in this frozen mountain forest for years. Nothing ever disturbs the silence here until the day a lion saved my life. That morning started like every other. The cold woke me before the sun did. My breath drifted through the air inside the cabin like smoke. The fire had died during the night. When my feet touched the wooden floor, the cold shot straight through me. I headed to the kitchen to wash my face. Honestly, in this freezing weather, touching cold water feels like a total nightmare. I quickly lit the fire to warm up and brewed some fresh tea. Outside, the forest was covered in untouched snow. Beautiful, silent, deceptively peaceful. I grabbed my coat, my axe, and stepped outside. The air burned my lungs instantly. Each step into the snow made a deep crunch. Out here, you learn to read silence, and that morning, something felt off. The birds weren't making noise. The wind had stopped, and then I heard it, a low growl behind me. I turned slowly. 3 wolves stood between me and my cabin, thin, hungry, watching, their ribs visible beneath their fur. I didn't move. If I ran, they'd chase. If I fought, I'd lose. This is how it ends, I thought. Alone, in the snow, no one would ever know. And then a roar exploded through the forest. Not a growl, not a warning. A roar so deep it felt like the earth cracked open. The wolves froze, and from the tree line, he emerged, a massive white lion. The wolves turned and vanished into the trees. Silence returned, except for my heartbeat. We stared at each other. If he decided I was next, I wouldn't stand a chance, but he didn't move toward me. He simply looked, like he was searching for something. Then he shifted his weight slightly, and that's when I saw it. His front paw. There was a faint, crooked line across it.
It's you. I can't believe it.
A healed fracture, a bone that once broke and never fully set straight. My breath caught in my throat. No, that can't be. A thin, pale scar running from the joint down toward the pad. I had seen that before. Years ago, on a much smaller paw, I had been living here only a few months at the time. Everything was quiet, too quiet. Then I heard it, footsteps, and they stopped right outside my door. My chest tightened. No one hikes here in winter. No deliveries, no visitors. If I move too fast, I die. If I open this door, I might not close it again. For a moment, I just stood there, listening to my own heartbeat. Then I grabbed the handle and pulled, and my breath stopped. Standing a few feet away was a full-grown white lion, and beside him, a cub, its front paw bleeding into the snow, bright red against white silence. This is how people disappear, I thought. Alone, no witnesses, no sound but wind. The adult lion didn't growl, didn't show his teeth. He simply stared at me. Then, slowly, he stepped aside and nudged the cub forward with his head. The cub limped toward me, each step painful, snow staining beneath him. The lion's muscles were tense, ready, but he didn't attack. He waited. I knelt slowly. The cub flinched when I reached out. The adult lion's body tightened. If he lunges now, I won't even feel it. But he didn't. I touched the cub. Cold fur, rapid heartbeat. I gently lifted him. The lion stepped closer, close enough that I could feel his breath against my arm. Then, he followed me inside. A wild predator had just entered my home, and somehow I wasn't afraid anymore. I placed the cub near the fireplace and fed the flames until warmth filled the room. The adult lion remained near the door at first, watching every movement, every sound. I grabbed my first aid kit. My hands were steady. I don't know how. The cub's paw was deeply cut, possibly from ice or broken rock. I cleaned it carefully. The cub winced, but didn't pull away. The lion moved closer, lowered himself onto the floor, still watching. When I wrapped the bandage around the cub's paw, the lion leaned forward and gently pressed his head against my shoulder. Not dominance, not warning, trust. That night he stayed. The cub slept near the fire, the lion lay near the door, and I sat there thinking how insane this was. Weeks later, the cub was fully healed, strong, playful, wild. They didn't belong in my cabin, no matter how peaceful it felt. One morning, I opened the door. The lion stood outside, the cub beside him. He walked toward me, stopped inches away, and gently pressed his forehead against my chest. I closed my eyes. For a moment, the world disappeared. Then he turned, walked toward the trees. The cub followed. Halfway into the forest, the cub looked back. Then both of them vanished into white silence. And just like that, they were gone. The cabin is quiet again. I told myself that was the end of it, just one strange winter memory. But now, standing in front of me, was no cub. It was him, grown, massive, powerful, and alive. With the same scar. The man's eyes filled with tears. The lion stepped forward slowly, not as a predator, but as family. The man placed his trembling hand on its face, and the lion lowered its head. They embraced. In the middle of the storm, man and beast, both crying, not from fear, but from reunion. The wind howled around them, but for them there was only silence. The cold that once surrounded the land now begins to surround the man. His body is old, tired, worn by time, but his heart is full. From that day onward, the white lion never left him. It walked beside him, guarded his home, watched over him during the endless frozen nights. When the man chopped wood, the lion stood watch. When the man slept, the lion rested by his side. No words were needed. They both understood. One morning, the man could not rise from his bed. His breath was heavy. His hands were shaking. The lion sensed it immediately. It moved closer, pressed its warm body against him, shielding him from the cold, as if trying to give him its own strength. That night, the storm was the worst it had ever been. Snow buried the land. Winds screamed like ghosts in the dark. The white lion stood at the door, its mane flowing wildly, roaring into the darkness, a warning to the wild, a promise to the world. This human is not alone. No animal dared to come near. When the sun finally rose, the storm was gone. The world was silent. Inside the small wooden cabin, the man lay peacefully, eyes closed, a faint smile on his face. He had not fought death. He had welcomed it, knowing he was protected. The lion nudged him gently. No response. It licked his face, just like it did years ago. But this time, the man did not open his eyes. The lion let out a low, broken roar, not of anger, not of rage, but of loss. For the entire day and the entire night, the white lion stayed. It guarded him one last time. They say animals do not understand love, but in the coldest place on earth, a lion mourned a man, and a man left this world knowing he was never alone. This story was brought to life through artificial intelligence to show the unbreakable bond between animals and humans. If it touched your heart, like this video and subscribe to WildVoice Studio.